Hi. So this week I'm going to be reflecting on two areas in terms of what I've learned about leadership this week. One is communication and the other is overplaying a strength. So in terms of communication, this one really is through the sort of dual lenses of my own leadership and some insights that I've been fortunate enough to receive from my team and my coach about my communication as a leader, and also something very similar in a way, sort of through the lens of one of my clients. So my communication, and I think this is a challenge for a lot of leaders, but particularly the more entrepreneurial scenario, when you're building something, you're really driven towards a goal, and that goal you can really envisage and you can see what's happening. And there's a lot of things moving, a lot of moving parts. At the moment we're rebuilding our website for the third time in 3 years, really trying to push the envelope on what we can deliver and the amount of value that we can convey through a web experience. I'm running a project in America, I'm running a project in Brisbane. We're rebuilding some of the products in our coaching area. If I don't communicate what I'm doing and what I'm seeing and the direction that the business is going in, then how can I fairly expect people to be on board with that and for them to apply their passion and expertise to the same level as I am to all of these areas? And the other thing is being consistent with that communication. If I'm saying one thing to this person over here and one thing to this person over here, they don't know what each other are hearing. They don't know, sort of what is happening consistently, and you're missing opportunities for people to contribute cross-functionally, cross-pollinate ideas, into different, sort of project areas. So that's something that I've, become very conscious of, and just really trying to be more consistent, and more conscious to share, more what I'm visualizing and sort of taking people on the journey around that as well. So that's some reflections on my own leadership. And then through the lens of a client, also around communication, is a little bit different, but really, I think in a lot of ways the same. So what I'll specifically say is around communicating bad news and being prepared to own that news. So an instance with a client where there's been a change in the business, that they've decided not to really, I think, sort of take on, as a necessary communication, business wide. And I think the challenge there is that, again, the leader of this business, he knows what the solution is going to be. He knows how this is going to be managed and what the ramifications will be. But in not communicating that, there is, I think, the potential for people to come to false conclusions, people to wear sort of a period where they don't know what's going on, and there's going to be a lot of concern. There'll inevitably be a rumor mill that fires up about what's happening. And I think all of that could really be mitigated just with some swift, decisive, clear communication. This has happened. This is what the business is going to do about it, and this is where we're going to go. We're not there now, but this is where we're going to go. So that on communication, for me, clear, concise, consistent messaging about where we're going as a business, and sort of decisive communication, announcing some bad news, but showing the sort of the forthright direction that's going to be taken to fix it. So that's one area, communication. The second one, overplaying a strength, and this really kind of, for me, funnels out of that first area that I was talking about in communication for myself. But there is a real danger, an inherent danger in overplaying a strength. So for me, a strength that I've drawn on time and time again, but especially in running my own business, is to conceive of something and really very, very quickly be sort of fully experiencing that, in a visualization, to really in my own mind actualize, the full experience of walking around in that concept. That's a great strength, but if I don't use that appropriately, if I overplay it in terms of what I'm experiencing for myself, but I don't use the strength to convey what I'm experiencing to others, they can't come on that journey with me. And the strength actually becomes a deficiency, because you then end up in a position where you're expecting people to really buy into what you're seeing and feeling and experiencing, but how can they? Because it's totally intangible, and they don't have anywhere near the same sense of essentially what you're talking about. So, we all have strengths. Use them sensitively and delicately, and appreciate that your strengths are different to other people's strengths. And you actually need to come together in terms of holders of strengths, and align them, and appreciate that your strengths applied effectively are immensely powerful. Your strengths underplayed diminish. Your strengths overplayed equally diminish. More on that, I think, in the future. That's a big topic area. But that's it. That's my leadership learnings for this week. I hope that's been helpful, insightful. I look forward to any comments that'll come from the viewers, and I will see you next week. Cheers.